Sometimes when adults look at a high school leader, perhaps with envy, they see a polished professionalism, a self-confidence that appears to have always been there, organization and time management which must have been conquered at a young age. Lesser known are the struggles behind the scenes, the life lessons about self-advocacy learned along the way, and the endless hard work it took to achieve that leadership role. In this episode of Senior Spotlight, we travel to New Tech High, where one senior's tremendous accomplishments were not hindered by challenges, but rather made more meaningful because of them. This is New Tech High senior Margaret Samp. She and her partners for this pre-calculus class project are designing cooling towers for a nuclear reactor. In addition to this class, she also has
personal finance and Spanish 2. And in the afternoons, first semester, I took Southeast Tech's anatomy and physiology. And second semester, that will be replaced with English composition at Southeast Tech.
Those classes at Southeast Tech and others she's completed through New Tech will mean
I'll walk out of high school with 12 college credits.
If you're familiar with this video series, you'll know that students like Margaret are also usually very involved at their school, and she is. She's the president of the National Honor Society.
She keeps the club running, she keeps the club in line for me, so that makes my job as advisor really easy, having great students like Margaret. All of her peers listen to her because they know that she is super organized and stays on top of everything. They know that she's going to do the best job possible. I know the same thing. I don't worry about when we have a fundraiser coming up, when we have whatever event coming up, that she's already on top of it. She's already made a group text with all of the NHS members, and all I have to do is show up. She contacts community partners, everything. We went to the pavilion to help out with spooky science, and as soon as I connected her with the director there by email, I didn't hear anything else until it was time and it was all taken care of. So she's just on top of it, and she really likes taking on that leadership role and making sure that she's always doing the best that she can. It's super easy for me as an advisor because she's already 3 steps ahead. I started the year thinking I needed to give her a to-do list, hey, make sure you contact this person or talk to Jane about this cash box or whatever, and it's, yep, done. Actually, yesterday in class, I asked her, I was like, when is our January meeting? Because I don't remember, I've gotten almost lazy with it because I know that she's got it taken care of. In class, if I'm ever gone or if I have to step out for whatever, she's actually gotten up and is like, okay, I'll teach the class, and the kids follow her and go along with the lesson, whatever it is. So it just makes everything easier, having such a hard worker, having such a leader in class, in clubs, in the school.
She's also a Titan ambassador, meaning she represents the school out in the community, to groups taking tours from around the country, and to students interested in joining the school.
I encourage them to step outside of their box because the box is only as big as you limit yourself to, and when you step out of it and fail, that's where you truly grow, which I found that failure here is a good thing. When failure for me prior to New Tech was a horrifying thing because they take you through step by step. When you fail, by reflecting on it, how can you grow? And then working to never make that same failure again. You could have failed in your project, but the amount of effort you put into it could still equivalent you to an A. New Tech is just so original and kind of out there to those looking in. But I love that it's a professional environment but allows for creativity, that students of all backgrounds can thrive in this environment, that the type A personalities like myself that are the natural leaders can work alongside those students who in a normal classroom would be zoning out, making paper airplanes, or not reaching that potential that you see with the students that are natural test takers. Those students you see getting their grade based off of the artwork that they do because that's their strong points. Whereas mine would be the leader, the academics portion of it, where I might not be able to draw as well as they are. And to see those two personality types or the different learning styles that are across the board coming together is just making the family aspect of New Tech is what I love.
She's Titan Ambassador, so anytime we have new faces come to New Tech that want to know what New Tech is about, she's one of our go-tos to make sure that they're getting the best tour, the best big picture view of New Tech. Positive and honest with community partners as they come in, with potential new students as they come in. I don't know, she's like the ideal New Tech student, I guess. She's always got positive mindset, ready to go, ready for a challenge, and is excited to have people come here and join.
Her honesty and integrity are attributes teachers can't help but love.
Margaret is the perfect combination of honest. She knows how to recognize when struggles are taking place. She knows how to address those struggles and be forthcoming in, hey, these struggles are making me a better person. Sometimes things aren't always sunshine and roses, but that's okay because that's real life. And when she goes out to represent New Tech, when she goes out to be who Margaret truly is, she's okay sharing those things. She's saying life is not always going to be all about frappuccinos and handshakes. Sometimes you get some cold black coffee and you got to make the best of it. And here's how I've made the best of it over the course of my time at New Tech.
High-performing student leaders, beloved by teachers, are not unusual features of past senior spotlights. But this certainly is.
I am dyslexic, so I was diagnosed with dyslexia in the 3rd grade. Learned how to read in the 4th grade.
And that was one of the reasons she would eventually choose New Tech High for her education, but not the only one.
The school I went to at the time did some projects. It was a more hands-on learning environment. And I did just fine at Edison learning that way, but I didn't want to be judged academically by what I could retain and put on a piece of paper. I wanted my academics to be transformed into a modern day technique where it's applied learning, learning how to work with others, being held accountable for my actions, learning how to grow as a leader, and in my communication skills with my speaking, whether it be speech or my design skills through what the modern business world needs.
Around the time she was being diagnosed with dyslexia, she was beginning her journey to master another language.
Yet there's no sickness nor danger in that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my Father. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over home.
Music, singing, opera are among where her passions lie. This is Christmas at the Capitol in Pier this December, where Margaret is helping lead the chamber choir.
There was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift. The baffled king composing hallelujah.
I am the student leader. I conduct when we do a cappella pieces. I hold the pitch pipe. I've always been a leader, even as an underclassman, just because of my advanced music knowledge in singing and classical singing in particular. Whether it be with diction in a foreign language, I participated all 4 years in all-state chorus, which is a bizarre thing to come across in the Sioux Falls School District because typically underclassmen are not accepted or allowed to audition for all-state chorus. Since I can remember, when I was extremely little, I remember sitting on the floor of the kitchen in the splits singing while my mom was cooking. But what really sparked my interest into opera specifically was in the 8th grade when I had the opportunity to sing with the South Dakota Symphony Orchestra in La Boheme, where I auditioned and was chosen as the children's soloist. So that was like a big part of what got me on the journey of singing opera specifically, alongside Dr. Lisa Grevlis at Augustana, being my voice teacher since I was 9. And from there, I went and sung at Shattuck St. Mary's with the Minnesota Youth Opera Company, and down in Kansas City, where I took part in Hans und Gretel at the Kaufman Center, where that eventually led me to going to Washington, D.C., where I sung with Washington National Opera's Pre-College Opera Institute at the Kennedy Center. And then this past summer, I took part in Boston University's Tanglewood in Lenox, Massachusetts, where the Boston Pops do their summer programs.
Her musical prowess through the lens of dyslexia took substantial work too.
It was really difficult at first until I was diagnosed, and then my voice teacher worked with me on this is how we say this word and recognizing it and slowing down. But the awesome thing about music is music involves multiple parts of the brain at one time, which can sometimes bypass the more friable areas of the brain. And so the use of music in speech and singing is what makes music therapy such an important thing with those who have dementia and Alzheimer's, because it can rewrite the brain or rewire it in a way. And so I feel that also did that for myself as I was learning how to read, the development through that.
Her list of achievements in what she's already mentioned: a 4-time all-state choir member, performances in operas throughout the region, in Boston, and at the Kennedy Center, will grow with this summer's performances, which are still taking shape, and may include overseas experiences. It's all invaluable for New Tech's vocal music program, but her influence extends well beyond that.
Margaret's role as a musical leader in the school is seeing her step up to celebrate others. Margaret has taken that role as a bit of a cheerleader, as a bit of someone who is willing to take the opportunity to recognize her choir cohorts and say, hey, I want to talk about how awesome this person did the other day in tryouts, or I want to celebrate these people for their all-state editions because they really deserve recognition. And being a leader doesn't always mean being the best, though she certainly is in many aspects. Being a leader often means taking the time to recognize those around you for what they do good, because that recognition allows those people to look at you in a different light. You can lead through doing, which she does, but you can also lead through celebrating and motivating and recognizing. And that balance, I think, is really what has led her to be the leader that she is in the music program at New Tech.
In fact, her expertise was taken into consideration when New Tech hired a new choir director this year.
I got to be a part of the interviewing process and sit down and talk with the candidates. And what I was really looking for was someone who would not only challenge me musically, but also challenge those students below me in level and challenge them to keep working and install that confidence in them, like Pam Green did with me. Like, I've known her since I was an infant because her and my mom are really good friends. But the confidence that she gives every student, I wanted to see that in another choir director, because I've viewed other choir directors from around the state, within the school district, and it's those teachers that see the potential in students and work with them and push them that makes a good choir program. You don't have to be the top soloist, because a choir is one voice. And so when Mr. Ferry came in, I was like, this is the dude. He's fun, he's perky, he'll get the choir program really moving.
New Tech was a natural fit for her, but it was also, in a manner of speaking, in her blood.
Her older brother, Jake, was one of the first graduating members of New Tech High School, and I remember Margaret tagging along to Jacob's conferences with her parents. It's neat to see how families interact with New Tech, and the Samp family is one of those really cool families where you can see that progression, and how Jake's experiences at New Tech transitioned into Margaret's wanting to come to New Tech, and then Margaret's experience at New Tech. And it's really fascinating to see how that family and Margaret herself has grown as a part of the New Tech family. When you are a part of the New Tech family for as long as the Samp family has been, and as long as Margaret has been, it really adds to that buy-in, that ability to communicate, and truly what Margaret does so well is really represent what New Tech family looks like.
The first time I ever came to New Tech was for one of my older brother's presentations. I think it was his freshman year when he was in Comstead. We don't have that anymore, it's called Humanities now. But they were reading the Odyssey, and they created varying booths, like a carnival, and my little brother and I got to come to their presentations and play the games, and so that was my first interaction with what New Tech was. And then as he was progressing through high school, I saw the weirdest things come out of our garage. And I was like, how does this connect to school? Because I was just entering middle school and I was doing tests and worksheets and reading out of my textbook. Meanwhile, my brother had a drill and a hockey stick and was putting lights through it. And I was like, what? And so then come to New Tech and be able to see how that related to school has just been so much fun, because it's not only hands-on, but there's just that family and growth of creativity in the school.
Her place at this school is important, and so is what she'll leave behind.
We have seen her grow. It's been really fun. Grow from like wants to be in charge but doesn't know how to do it, bringing people with her, more pushing people, to she's grown to people just follow her because she's developed the skills. She's had the practice to encourage people to come along with her, and they know that they can trust her. When she's in class, it just makes class run that much smoother because there's a go-to leader that's on every single day. Like, she never has an off day, and if she does, she like sets it aside. I'm here to work, we're gonna get stuff done, and then that's it. She can work with anyone.
She's an incredible advocate, and I think that's probably one of the greatest takeaways that I've had with my relationship with Margaret, is watching the students learn how to advocate for herself. And that is something that is going to serve her far beyond what New Tech has done for her. She's learned that this is who I am, this is how I'm going to cope with my disadvantages over life, but I've learned these mechanisms and I learned how to stand up for myself. And that is something that I'm so proud of her for, because, like I said, that will take her so much further than commas and ellipses and semicolons and hyphens. That ability to say, hi, I know that this is my place in life. This is what I struggle with. I know how to work around this. I need you to help me work around this. And that is really, really powerful. She's had frank conversations with other underclassmen, and I've got juniors in American Experience now who have had these conversations with Margaret and say, you can have these conversations with Mr. Olson and Mr. Hawkins. You can have these conversations with your teachers because they truly want to help you. And I know that because they helped me. And through being that role model, I have students who before might have been resistance or hesitance to have those conversations are now walking up and saying, I heard from Margaret that you helped her with this. Can you help me? Absolutely, absolutely. And sharing that experience not only has made her a better advocate for herself, but is also being a leader in teaching others how to advocate for themselves. And that sort of trickle-down leadership is really, really strong.
I hope that students see me as a light in the craziness that is everything that's around us, and see that if I can overcome those hurdles, that they can also overcome it and be the person that they want to be, reach their version of success or keep striving to always reach a further level of success.
Her future is limitless.
I know she is looking at music therapy, which I think would be amazing because she is really good at helping people. She has a very giving heart, and obviously gifted, talented with music, so I think it's a great fit for her. Her own personal challenges aren't even, if you don't know, you wouldn't even know. She's so, she's not gonna let anything hold her back.
I want to be a music therapist at a major children's hospital. I love working with kids. I've always loved being around kids. And I thought about going into the medical field, but needles are something I don't like doing. And I knew I wanted a career where I could help someone and do music. And when I found music therapy, I was just like, that's what I want to do.
Whatever she wants, really. I have things that I would like to see her do, selfishly, but Margaret has developed a set of skills so that when she sits down, whatever direction she ends up going in 5, 10, 15 years post-education, that she will have that mindset and the self-advocacy and the ownership to do it. I am excited for whatever the future holds for Margaret. Family, career, whatever that looks like, she's going to understand what it's going to take to be successful, and she's going to set her mind to it, and it's going to happen. Just don't get in her way.
And in many ways, big and small, she's making sure that future generations of Titans enjoy the same possibilities.
There will never be another Margaret, but she's doing what she can to instill as much of the leadership qualities that she has into the next grade level.
It has been a pleasure to teach Margaret and be part of her educational journey because she has helped me learn to be a better teacher. Her self-advocacy, her willingness to have frank conversations, to recover items that she's missed, and to have and hold me accountable for what I'm supposed to be doing as an educator, has helped me see my job through a different lens, to get a different perspective. As almost a student teacher, her interactions in my classroom with me and outside of the classroom through extracurricular activities and through just bumping each other in the hall has been a different level of professionalism that has allowed me to really enjoy the interactions and grow as a teacher because of how she has treated me as an educator. And that's something pretty special. You don't say that about a lot of students.